What up, folks? This is Harmsy, and it has been a while. I won't go into it too much, but suffice to say, 2020 started a couple of months early for me. It happens. Anyway, let's get started with a quick, what's the word I'm looking for? Quick thing about some of the improvements I've made to my recording setup since the last video you saw. First off, the camera. Take a look at that. Look at that. And yes, that is a flashlight stuck on top with a little 3D printed shoe. So what? I had the flashlight. I didn't have a proper thing to put up there, so I made do with what I had available. And it is lovely. I look so much better with it than I do without it. I mean, look at this. I look like this. This is just nah. Light stays on. Secondly, if I just go ahead and turn off these lights so that you can actually see, look at that. Look at this. I got 5 of these up here from a floor lamp that I took apart, and I have the stand left over. So there's a thing. Let me just turn that back on. The lighting in here is much better now that I have those in here. So that's another improvement. And finally, let's just scroll down a little bit. Got myself a little lapel mic. Got myself a little digital recorder because I didn't have the money for one of those wireless systems, and this will have to do. It means I'll have to synchronize the audio with the video, but that's fine. Now, there is one more improvement I would like to make. Just gonna... Oh, what did I do? Okay, good, I didn't do anything. Just gonna take this off of the thing for a moment. Pop that around so I can see what I'm looking at. Look at that tripod. Look how much floor space that takes up. Just look at it. And this is at the best height for me to record my face. So this is a problem. I gotta walk around this. This leftover base from that floor lamp, however, is much better. Look how little bit of space that takes up. Look at that. Just look at that. There's my foot. There's my foot. Here's my foot next to the tripod. Look at that. Look at that. It's a lot easier to find a spot for that than it is to find a spot for that. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this bit of hardware off of here, stick it on top of this, and then we'll be good to go. It's gonna be a bit more work than making it sound because, well, I gotta take this off, this, and this, all 3 legs. And I gotta figure out how much of this I want to keep. And I have to mount some sort of a coupler on top of this in order to make everything fit. Because I don't have the right screw thread dug into this guy to just screw this thing straight on it. So I gotta take a piece of this little pipe. Wait, did I just... Yeah, I did just take it out of frame. Ah! Whatever. Let's move on. Okay, it is done. I got the important bits taken off of the old tripod, and now I'm going to talk a little bit more about how what I'm doing is a huge improvement, especially this camera, how this camera is a huge improvement over what I had before. Imagine you're too poor for a proper camera, so you get a webcam, but you need to hook it up to something. So you have a laptop on a big cart that takes up like those 4 corners of floor space roughly, and you got to move it around to be within range of the webcam in order to record anything. That makes things even harder, doesn't it? So I am very glad to have this very expensive but very nice camera. But anyway, now I need to take a few measurements, do a little bit of modeling and 3D printing, and well, let's just cut to some screen recording, shall we? Okay, here we are in Blender. I got myself a nice new startup file, and I'm just going to go ahead and delete everything. Select all, delete, boom. Now, I went ahead and measured the things I need to fit this on, and both parts are 25 millimeters pretty much on the dot. If I give myself a 1 or 2 millimeter margin for shrinkage, that'll give me 25.1, 25.2. I'll do 25.2 just because it's easier for the number crunching. Then I have to cut that in half because Blender operates by radius. So that would give me 12.6 as my target radius, and hi there, kitty. Okay, so normally for a cylindrical thing I would add a cylinder, but since I need a notch in here to stop the thing from sliding down, and I just bumped my microphone. Since I need a notch to stop this from sliding down, and 45 degrees is a good overhang, I'm gonna do a torus. Now let's go ahead and pop that, and let's go ahead and minor radius will be 12, not 12.6, 9.6, so that I can have 3 millimeters inward for a notch. And then major radius will be oh no, I don't need minor and major, I need interior, exterior. Interior, 9.6. Exterior, 15.1. No, 15.6. That way I've got a 3 millimeter wall. And then we just do that. And move, cat, you're in front of my screen. Meow yourself. Get out of there. You don't want to see how janky my setup is in this room. So now we want minor segments to go down to 4. That way we got our nice 45 degree overhang and 3 millimeter differences and all that stuff. And there we go. Let's go into edit mode and go ahead and extrude these outer faces up and down. Let me just go ahead and speed that up real quick. We'll go ahead and do 30 millimeter extrusion, so we got plenty of depth to keep things straight. EZ. Then we do the bottom. There we go. Select all and then zoom out. There we go. Then we want to go into wireframe. And I need to flatten these top and bottom faces so that they'll print easier on the printer. Just make things easier. So let's go ahead and do a quick little vertex select mode. Select a box, and then we set our pivot point to active element and make one of these bottom vertices our active element, like just deselect, reselect, and then scale Z. Do the same up top. And there we have it, a little connector socket that will allow me to mount that bit of hardware on top of the lamp base. So I'm gonna go ahead, slice this up, print it up on my 3D printer. I would do a time lapse, but I don't have a time lapse timer for my camera. And there might be a way to do it without a timer on this thing, but I don't know how to yet. Anyway, let's go ahead and get that done, and I will meet you back in the basement. Well, my little connector socket is off of the 3D printer. However, there's a bit of a problem. Didn't quite give myself enough room to account for shrinkage. So, I'm gonna go ahead and take this over to the lathe and try to open it up a little bit. Whee! Let's go for a spin! Yeah. And let's leave you right there on the bandsaw. Give myself a nice little angle. There we go. Got a clear view of the lathe. It's in a nice little dust collection enclosure that's not quite complete. It never was complete, did that months ago. Anyway, another nice piece of kit that I picked up since the last video is this chainsaw helmet, which is very handy for keeping lathe turnings off of my face while protecting my ears at the same time from all the dreadful noise. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this set up and going. Out of there. You go there. Where'd I put the socket? There it is. Hey, Cricket. You go chirpy chirp, chirp, chirp. Chirpy chirp face. And that should be good. Get that out of the way. Oh. I really need to fix this. I need to get some cup hooks and fix this thing. All the way off of here. That's a bit rumbly. That's never a good sign. Get that clamp out of the way. And let's see here. Well, I got the holes widened out, and for this end here, what I ended up doing is just sticking the bar into the end of the thing while the lathe was spinning. So now this is hot and needs time to cool, but that doesn't matter because now we need to do one more thing before we can finish this up, and that is take this little plastic tubey thing and cut it on the tool that the camera is currently sitting on top of. The bandsaw. There we go. Now I'm going to cut about this much off. I'm going to keep the threaded end and just discard everything from around here all the way to this hook. Let's do that. And put you back at there. I am moving this thing around all over the place. Wow. There, that's better. And here we go. And slice. We don't need this. We do need this. So I'm just gonna drop this in and glue it, I guess, and then I will cut back in. Well, I guess I don't even need to glue it. Nice tight fit. But I will cut back in when I have this all reassembled. forgot this thing. And then I dropped it. Well, it's done. Where'd I leave the mirror? Oh, right, I put it away. Here it is. And now, ta-da! The camera takes up less floor space, which is very good. Okay, there we go. Now, I did make a few mistakes here, specifically with the modeling process. 1/10 of a millimeter is not enough margin for shrinkage, and the notch, well, I didn't account for the little spike that has to go through the coupler, and the notch sort of narrowed down too much for that. But anyway, now I have much more range of motion. I can put this camera in many more places down in this very cramped basement, and so my next video should be a lot easier and a lot sooner. But that's going to do it for now, and until next time, I'm out of here.